That was a scream. That was Screamer. Racing games people are a weird bunch. Imagine being fan of a genre with 3 games in total. There was Crash Team Racing, Burnout 3 and Driver. Tutorial mission. That's it, those are all the games. You guys should have played visual novels instead. We've got 5 games here. Screamer tries to bring the genre back to where it was fun and cool, and it does so using the missing ingredient racing games always lacked. Anime. Such a massive revolution can only be described as a historical milestone. Screamer. Now you need to understand, lots of people out there don't like this game. Screamer is unplayable. Screamer's controls make no sense. Screamer switched my mom's medications with Tic Tacs, and I've got to say, this was a revelation for me because I had no idea most players out there have only one thumb. Although it does explain a few things. For the 4 listeners who do indeed possess 2 thumbs, Screamer is the game for you. Doubly so if you're a fan of more refined games like Pimp My Cruise, because steering in this game certainly feels like driving one. But oh, what's that? A second analog stick? And it makes you drift whenever you want? And people want me to think this isn't the best idea ever? The controls feel natural and smooth, but that doesn't mean mastery comes for free, you know? There's a balance you need to find between steering and drifting that makes Screamer more technical and more complex than other renowned titles in the genre like Action Man Destruction X. Learning how to nail those sharp turns takes practice, but the feeling of drifting through them at Mach 5 speed without face planting against the wall is rewarding and it's exhilarating. But going fast and getting to first position is a game for babies. The real goal here is fucking murder everyone. Oh, low-key Screamer. It's Mario Kart meets a good game, where resource management is paramount and you can't just be a brain-dead mollusk throwing blue shells like the punk bitch I know you are. Using Turbo Boost grants you Big Boom energy, and destroying other cars grants boost back, meaning you can chain them one after the other to quickly gain positions. It's a lot. Yes, but wait! Perfectly timed boost to obtain a longer buff period. Each car has its own hidden stats that determine max speed and handling during drifts, but also has its own unique driver with their own unique skill. And overdrive? Did I swap the game with Guilty Gear? Screamer's gameplay feels daunting with its barrage of interlocked mechanics, but it's all about gut feeling. At every second you make so many little decisions without even realizing. Will I save this boost to shield myself, or should I try rushing through this shortcut at max speed? Can I handle going full blast, or should I use this energy to crush an opponent instead? But I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to remember how to do a 42-hit combo with my car when I'm focused on not scattering my teeth on the asphalt at 500 bazillion meters per hour? Isn't there an easier way to learn this without having to listen to you? Ah, Bobby, my stupid chromosome-eating friend, that's what story mode is for. As in, an actual story, with people talking. The most interesting thing about Screamer is that the campaign is treated as the main selling point. The bad thing about Screamer is that half the cast sounds like this.
Jesus Christ, Caterpillar again? Hiroshi, a strange...
Was denkst du ist wirklich los? Zwischen Aisha und dieser Frau von der...
इतना जरूरी क्या था कि GSI को तुम्हें और ग्रेगोर को... Niente.
Ça faisait un paquet de temps que j'avais pas frôlé la mort.
Hurleur. In the future, everyone can speak their own native language and have it instantly translated, you see, but the tech is still in its infancy, so English voices are perfectly fine, while everything else seems filtered through an AI whose sole purpose is making you sound like a hollow husk of a man.
The fuck are you slavering about?
As for the plot... okay, stay with me here. A big driving tournament is held in Night City with a grand prize of $100 billion. That doesn't seem right, I know, but another character later on says he has to pay back a loan of $30 billion, so I assume we're dealing with future turbo inflation, and 100 billion maybe gets you 5 or 6 Kit Kat bars, and those things are flying off the shelves, believe me. But the protagonist is not here for the money. He wants revenge on the bad guy from Casino Royale for killing his boss, but the doggy appears and says, nah.
Are you ready to self-destruct?
Mon Dieu!
Jesus Christ!
These cars are equipped with immortality juice, can't kill nobody, and so our cast can only do one thing to overcome the odds. Trying to kill the doggy.
Nothing you think the spinner!
Well, that doesn't work, so they resort to the second best option. Talking.
Oui, c'est bien ça.
Did you just call me over like I'm a fucking dog?
Lots and lots of talking. Sometimes drive, sure, but then it's back to talking about nothing. The story mode moves at snail pace. And notice how I say the story mode and not just story, because even the gameplay gets gimped for half the time. You can't even crush cars. You can't do the boom booms. This is Burnout 3 Takedown without the takedowns. And I'm out. Screamer asks you to be patient. We got a Crimson Desert situation here where you gotta wait those 80 hours before it gets good, when the cast finally discovers that hey, if two cars collide into each other, they burst into flames, and somehow they're surprised that's even an option, because in the future they're not familiar with Chekhov's gun, I guess. But the wait is long, and every single gameplay mechanic is slowly drip-fed to you. But you have to go with it anyway, because this is the only game mode where they are explained, and if you want to just jump into arcade mode, most cars won't even be available. But listen here, maybe it was this Irish lady's accent that turned my brain into mush.
The hell was that?
But after 8 hours or so, I started getting invested into these morons. We've got a Crimson Desert, no, never mind. I didn't give a crap about the love stories or the intrigue and deceptions. It wasn't the novelty of seeing an anime where there are no big, giant Titanic sized badonkas that gripped me. It was the fact I enjoyed seeing these guys ripping each other apart. No more than 5 minutes can pass without having the cast shouting at each other. Every team is its own microcosm of dysfunctional relationships, the likes of which you would only see in a family of crackheads. Look at this guy. He's my favorite guy. He's got a pure soul, full of joy and whimsy, and that's why in this episode he has to murder his own two teammates a few times during a race, because they looked at him funny. But before you get to the funniness, you have to bear with endless amounts of bullshit and filler that ultimately lead to a cliffhanger for a sequel. Coming soon, if we manage to sell more than 10 copies and we don't have to lay off the studio. But I hope we do get a sequel, because this is such a fun game and you should give it a shot. If not for yourself, do it for me. Do it for me, who's tired of playing against this cheap bastard AI. Listen, I know hard racing games, okay? I've played Rayman M, okay? But Screamer? Nah. Screamer is, oh hell no. If you play on medium difficulty, sure, it is fairly challenging, but imagine yourself in my shoes, being good at the game, and now I want to push myself a little bit. I wanna try to play hard difficulty. Suddenly the AI becomes the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. It won't be ChatGPT or Claude or Disney GPT to enslave us all. It'll be Screamer's AI. And if you try very hard difficulty, don't do it. So hey, why don't I just hop online, where I might be lucky to find 5 players who I'm convinced are just the game devs and their grandmas, while every other slot is occupied by that same vicious and cruel AI. So please don't be a Dumbo playing StarCraft on PS5. If you don't get Screamer, you're missing out on a racing game so good it's enjoyable even if you're not a racist enthusiast. Wait. But maybe that's the secret sauce of this game, that it's not a racing game. Think about it. Absurd story that doesn't go anywhere half the time, characters racing each other in filler episodes, multiple bars and mechanics and skills and bullshit to keep track of, everyone speaking to each other in different languages, and a cute furry mascot character that is somehow stronger than half the cast. This is just Tekken. You know, if it didn't suck.